and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. I am Bryan Steele, and I will be your nerd today, and every day that you watch my crazy, silly little show. I know last week I called in sick, so I'm going to actually go ahead and let you guys know what was happening as part of the Week in Bryan. Be forewarned. It's kind of gross, maybe a little bit. I don't know. Let's take a quick sip of my cold brew coffee from my Gen Con cup. Oh, Gen Con, how I miss thee. So, Week in Bryan. Last week, I guess 2 weeks in Bryan, got a little rocky. I woke up in the middle of the night with an extremely swollen protrusion from my lower abdomen. All jokes aside, it was not hurtful. It wasn't hurtful. It wasn't calling me names. It wasn't painful. It was just really swollen, and had like a head. It was not normal, and it was way too large to be anything that I normally deal with as a obese American. It really got me thinking, and got me doing some research and looking into things, and I was pretty sure that I had a hernia, which is serious. It's a serious situation. Should it get strangulated or anything like that? But I wasn't 100% sure, because I also didn't have any of the symptoms of any of the other symptoms of having a hernia. So I kind of waited, and I watched, and I waited, and I watched, and I waited and watched. And a couple of days later, I was getting some fever chills. I was getting I was in kind of a bad way. Hence why I did not record last week's episode. But shortly thereafter, the lump in question revealed itself to be just an unbelievably super infected cyst. I know that's a lot of information for you guys, but you're my fans, you're my followers and my subscribers. I'm gonna be honest with you. Many bandages and many showers later, I'm feeling much better. The lump is gone. It was a scary couple of days, and right smack dab in the middle of those couple of days was when I was supposed to film. So I couldn't get my brain around it. I couldn't figure out a decent time to make that happen. So I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. It's better for my brain. It's better for you guys to get content that's actually decent, and not filled with me on the verge of a panic attack. So that being said, now that that's passed, the last couple weeks have been really good. I am waiting on the contract for my next Shadowrun novel. It's supposed to be, in cyberspace on its way to me at any given moment. Super psyched about that. When I know a little more about what I'll be writing about, I'll let you guys know. The guys at Catalyst let me know that my short story should be available for download soon, and that my novel will probably be available, if everything goes well. My first novel, Tourist Trapped, through them, should be available probably in February. So we're getting close. I'm going to give you guys some cool reading material, stuff to ooh and ah over. The PDF on the DMs Guild is doing okay. Still not selling like I want it to. I really wish that it would take off and sell a lot of copies. But I guess maybe it's just not the right time for it. I don't know. But there are people that are getting it. It's a trickling effect, so to speak. and the next the next edition, the monsters that we're putting together, are in progress. So it looks like whether or not I'm gonna profit on these anytime soon, I'm still gonna at least try and put out a couple of things, just because it's nice to have stuff out there for people to purchase and enjoy the work. I played in a couple of my D&D games. I played in my Strahd game last night, where I am a kaleidoscopic oath paladin. We did a lot of overland travel, a lot of investigating, trying to figure out what is this Ravenloft that you speak of. And we ended the session about ready to storm a windmill full of what I think are going to be like witches or hags or something like that. We have sensed that there are fiends inside the building, and the only people we've met are these weird, like, pie cooking grandmas. So I have a feeling that there's more to meet the eye on the grandma front. Then my other D&D game that we played in, where I'm the capoeira cat monk. Let's see, what did we do? What did we do? There's a lot of us chit-chatting and talking. Not a lot of combat involved. Oh, I do remember. We captured an enemy wizard who was trying to kill us, and in exchange for letting him go and kind of filling his pockets with a little bit of gold, he gave us the name of the person that hired him to take care of us and a prominent NPC. So now we are trying to tell anyone who will listen that this, here's this plot, here's this thing, and of course no one's really paying attention to this random group of outsiders. So that's fun. And then I managed to get a game of 40k in over the weekend. It did not go well for my Necrons in that 40k game. Sadly, I still think I'm missing. I guess I think I don't play enough games to get all of the nuances down of when to do certain things, when to play certain things, when to pay command points for certain things. I think that's my drawback. That, and the guy who I'm playing is a very, very good player, and his army is very tough, and he does not change it very much. So it's going up against the same brick wall again and again and again. Let's see, what else have I done? Not a lot. Played some Xbox, played some more Cyberpunk, some more Necromunda. Played some Star Wars Squadrons. It's like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, but kind of brought up to New Age times. That game's crazy hard. I keep blowing up in that game. That's pretty much it. A lot of work stuff. Working steady on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game. Setting myself up for a few other projects through Renegade. That when I can tell you more about them, I will. Super excited on that front. My boss Elisa, she and I had a long talk this Tuesday about new projects and new books and things that she would like me to be working on, and things that I should pitch, and so that should be a lot of fun. I'm excited there. Let's see, what else? Not so good of a thing. My car died. The SUV, our family car, the engine gave up the ghost, and we are getting a new engine put into it. It is very expensive, prohibitively so, but in this day and age, we really can't go without a car. Just isn't feasible. And even if we lived in town, it wouldn't really be feasible because I wouldn't want to be taking mass transit right now with the way that COVID has spiked so badly in my state. So we're gonna get that fixed, and that's gonna sting a lot. That's gonna hurt, but we gotta get it done. We gotta get it taken care of. Let's see, what else? Is there anything else that needs discussing? I don't think so. Did a little painting commission, finished up some Thousand Suns for a client. Just his next wave of guys, some Death Guard came in for me to put my painting on. So I'm super excited about that. But that's really it. So things are kind of slowing down on the paint side. I might actually be able to maybe paint something that is for me sometime soon. We'll see. But yeah, so it's been good. Just had a meeting this afternoon with a client that I have worked for off and on, more off than on, but geez, for 15 years, I think, give or take. He is about ready to launch a Kickstarter for a card game that I designed in the world setting that he and I have worked on before. He's about ready to launch a Kickstarter to try and help flesh out kind of the fancy version of that card game. So here pretty soon, I don't know whether it'll be probably in the next couple of weeks, there's going to be an episode completely dedicated to that IP and that card game and that role-playing game. So that should be a lot of fun, getting to tell you a lot of you guys about this world that you've never heard of, and maybe get you guys interested enough to, when the Kickstarter comes out, to take a look and see if and see if it's a good fit for you and your role-playing groups or your card gaming groups, now that it's a card game too. But yeah, that's really it. Just a lot of work, a lot of taking care of myself, my health, and making sure that everything is functioning as it's supposed to here in the Steele household, because we can't afford for it not to. Yeah, so I guess without further ado, we can kind of get into the topic of today. The topic that I want to talk about is generosity. Generosity specifically between gamers, between storyteller and player, game master and player, DM and player, or possibly between DMs. I want to talk about the fact that it does not. There's been a lot of craziness in the news lately. There's been a lot of nastiness in the news between people. Between this particular person should have said this, and this person should have said this in response, and instead we get something totally different, and it ends up being a fight and an argument, and someone walks away upset or bleeding. And it made me think. Just wonder how much of this violence could be stemmed if people actually talked about their wants and their desires and their needs. Basically, a way for them to say, "Hey, this will help keep my block on straight, and I won't cause any problems because I'll be happy if this happens." And then as a generous gamer, maybe you try and do your best to go out of your way and make that happen. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of talk about how we treat other gamers. Before I get into some cool stuff I want to show you, that is all as a result of gamers treating gamers right. I don't know. I think for the most part, gamers tend to be maybe a little sarcastic here and there, but overall they tend to really kind of take care of and look out for their own. I know at the game store, you're always, if someone's floundering, there's almost always someone there to help, pick up a situation or add their 2 cents to hopefully diffuse something. But there are times that just doesn't work, and you have to deal with the consequences. I think it is worth always trying, though. And one of the ways you can try is, figure out a nice gesture, something that you can do for someone, a fellow gamer. If you're a DM and you're like it's getting to Christmas or it's getting like an anniversary of your game or whatever, and all your players are going to show up, maybe go ahead and buy a set of dice for them, or maybe buy a PDF for them of that guy that you like so much. That I heard that Lore Masters Guild thing is pretty top notch. But no, buy him a set of dice, buy a matching set of dice for the chronicle that you're in. Like just a little example like that can sometimes make all the difference in someone's in someone's day, in someone's play style. And instead of having that group of merfolk veterans or whatever hiding in the hull of the ship because you just don't want to have them commit to the battle, you could, as a player, figure out a way to make those guys get involved in the plot. Help your DM out by inviting them to dinner, or whatever. You can make it happen. You can make it work. And I think this in our current real world source, you've heard me say before that gaming is a nice escape. It's a nice way of getting out from under the heavy crap of the day. And I think that this goes the same way. Is sometimes it's nice to receive a gift, even if it's just a double batch of paper clips for your desk, or I bought memo pads for everybody in our gaming group so we can all write notes to each other, but I made sure the DM gets 2 because he writes the most notes. Like whatever it is, you can make a fellow gamer's day by a small gesture. Now, that being said, I did get a few small gestures recently. One of which I've got to read to you and show it to you because it's perfect. So on TikTok, there is I don't want to call it a cosplay celebrity because he never gets out of the suit. On TikTok, he plays Jar Jar Binks, and I got on one of my lives, me and Jar Jar, we connected in a great way. We made the bond, and I have become one of Jar Jar Binks's Christmas card pals. I have his address, and I cannot wait to send something back. I just haven't had the time to draw it up. All right. So I'm going to read you this cool Christmas card that I got from Jar Jar Binks on TikTok. Moi moi Christmas to Yusa Bryan. Misa been smiling to be wishing Yusa and clan members of Bryan a very Merry Christmas since this planet's cycle was missing. Wisa be seeing forward to the next one. It's a very hot over here. Lots of foot welling and chilly drinks. Yusa be keeping water quenched okie day? Moi moi merriment. Stay awesome, Misa Palo. Jar Jar Binks. So this little card with less than 100 words on it, estimated. I opened up my mail and I saw that and I was like, holy crap, Jar Jar Binks sent me a letter. And it was awesome. I know it's not the real, Ahmed Best, and I know that it's not, Jar Jar's not real, it's just some Canadian lady. But, or guy, I'm not sure. But whatever it was, is that it made me smile and made me kind of think outside of think of outside of my little bubble. So what I ended up what I'm doing is I'm trying to put together something cool to send back to Mr. Binks. So that should be fun. Let's see, other things that I believe were just straight up signs of player generosity, or gamer generosity. One of my best friends, Nick, got the Scions of the Flame, a little 5-man Warcry box that has some of the coolest models that I have seen in a long time in there. So I don't play Warcry yet, anyway. But these models are super badass, and I can't wait to hopefully get a chance to beat some people down with these, because they are Chaos Undivided. So even if I actually put together an Age of Sigmar army, I can probably put these guys in there if I was really feeling froggy. Well, I just said froggy, did I? That's not great. But these models are so good and so cool. I probably am going to try, if I don't ever get into Warcry, I'll probably try and convert them over to Knights of Slaanesh when that book comes out, because I really want to get into that. There's some sick models in that force. Other cool things that I got. So I had my first Turbo Dork paint bottle explosion. It got clogged enough that when I went to go squeeze it, it just gave up the ghost and it went everywhere. Luckily for me, it didn't get on the commission I was working on. It didn't get on me so much as it just kind of all over the table and all over the palette. Pretty easy cleanup. But I sent a picture of the offending paint, but without the bottle, just basically the pool and the splatter of the paint. And I sent it over to my friends at Turbo Dork. They have been nothing but amazing to me forever, ever since they existed. They've been just wonderful people. And so I sent them over the picture and was like, I had my first paint explosion. And their one of their bosses, one of their head guys, sent me a message and was like, "Oh, I know how bad I know how bad it gets. We had a couple of bad batches. Do you want me to send out a new one?" And I was like, "Oh, well, obviously they don't have to do that sort of thing. They didn't have to. They don't have to send out new, new paints to replace paints just because I let one get clogged." But if they were willing, I was like, hey, I heard that they had put out a couple of new paint colors, so I offered to go ahead and to buy some of those new paint colors, and then they could combine it with sending me a replacement bottle of the one they clogged, if they were willing. And so the guy at Turbo Dork, which, did he send me his card? He did not, so I don't know his name still. But he sent me he basically sent me a message. It was like, I totally understand. We'll get a new bottle out to you. And what is this about you wanting to buy some new stuff? And I was like, well, I knew there's some new colors that came out on over Black Friday, and I didn't get a chance to buy them, so I would go ahead and take care of that. I would go ahead and take care of getting the go ahead and buying the new colors, and then they just throw one of the 3D glasses. That's the paint color. The name of the paint color that exploded. Go ahead and just throw that in the package, and we'd call it good. Not only would he refused to take my money for the paints, he went ahead and sent the new paints to me as just a kind of a belated Christmas, hey, how do you do? So what I mean by gamer generosity, this guy has a company. He's not a sponsor. I wish I could make him a sponsor, but he's not a sponsor of the show. But he is just a really good company, a really good guy, And he sends me this stuff, and then I tell you guys, hey, make sure you go to their website and you buy their stuff because it's good stuff. So I want to go through these new colors because they're super sweet. But just the sheer fact that he was like, yeah, cool, we'll get it, we'll get you taken care of, and then here's some new stuff that you didn't get a chance to buy yet. It put a smile on my face. It made me super happy. Made me feel like I have friends in the industry, kind of thing. You had that kind of swollen pride moment, but also it puts me in the right headspace that I can then look at another one of, like, I can look at one of my clients and go, you know, that little extra little thing that you need me to do with your power claw or whatever in your model, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. I'm not going to invoice you for it. You know, because you can pass that positivity and that generosity along, maybe in different amounts and different shadows, but whatever the case may be, it makes for a collectively more pleasant gaming community. You know, if the gamers get along and everybody's happy with each other, and you know, people are buying presents for each other around Christmas, or maybe just to have some, or like you go to the gaming club when COVID allows for it, and someone says, hey, I'll buy pizza today, someone catch us next week. You know, like little things like that help strengthen a gaming community. And you know, far be it for me to say that a strong gaming community isn't going to be a more pleasant one to be around. You know, if everybody's friends, if everyone's backs each other's play, isn't bad mouthing each other, isn't, you know, wait until someone turns around and says, you know, oh, that guy, I'm glad he's not here. You know, all of that stuff weakens us as a community. Whereas this kind of thing, it makes me want to share with the world. It makes me want to tell more people, hey, go get Turbo Dork stuff. You know, they are awesome. They back up their products 1,000%. They are great people. Like, so here's the replacement 3D glasses, and then I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 new colors that they didn't have before. We have Yuzu, a kind of shiny gold. Sakura, a shiny pink. Taro, kind of a gray, a shiny kind of gray purple. Maguro, a very blue shiny metallic. Matcha, yeah, that's right, you guessed it, green shiny metallic. Momo, a kind of orange shiny metallic. Let me get into kind of the shifty ones. We got Twin Suns, which is a kind of a blue-green color transfer. This one's, I can't wait to use this one. I don't know what I'm going to use it on, but I can't wait. I got to figure it out. We got Prism Power. It's a blue, like a blue-red that looks sick, and I hope that it turns out that good. And then we have Laserface, which I don't know where that comes from. It's a all sort of warm metallic colors that transfers from dark to light, like really light. And then the last one, which I thought was funny, is not 3D glasses, but 4D glasses. Is it gonna? No, it's not gonna. So it's a lighter version of the 3D glasses layer that's got a little bit more of a pigment shift into the purple tone when it dries. So that's cool. These guys, they went out of their way, made me happy. I'm planning on passing some of that on to some of my clients, making them happy, and hopefully everybody's good. So a couple of other things that popped into my mailbox. I'm So this is not. This is actually something that I bought for myself, which is weird to talk about a show for a show specifically for generosity. It's the Arcana Admiral. So it's a armor-clad dwarf with a big pistol and a hammer. I want to do some conversion to that guy, and turn him into possibly something for Necromunda, possibly something for secret projects. But the reason why I'm bringing him up is because that model represents something that I am thinking about doing for the community, for the gaming community, that should it come together, should it work, even outside of an employment situation, it should be a collective gift to a particular gaming community. And I am hoping that it is well received. I'm hoping that honestly, I'm hoping for the best case scenario, and that the company involved buys it. But even if they don't, I'm just hoping that people maybe have fun with it, and using this Arcana Admiral guy to start things off, as far as like, models to stand in for other models, that kind of thing, pleases me greatly. So it makes me feel good. It makes me feel positive about work and about extracurricular work that isn't that isn't paying me immediately. It makes me collectively want to do more for our industry, for you guys, for the fans. It makes me want to do more cool things that hopefully will snowball and become other cool things. All right, the last of the items that I'm going to show you that I have acquired via other people's generosity. This is technically a Christmas gift, but it was a little delayed. A friend of my wife and I's, a convention friend of ours named Andrew Fox, does this particular kind of art. So this is a glass. Whoa, weird. All right, I'm going to do this off sideways. There's a glass pane that he paints and then seals up in like pressed wooden frames. So this is Devastator from Transformers. I am Devastator. Raw. And it's technically a Christmas present from my wife, that Andrew made. Andrew makes a bunch of different things, but he added a few extra things. First off, all of this stuff is laser etched. Like, so this Transformers, it's not just painted on. I mean, it is painted on, but it's not just painted on. It's also a relief. But then on the sides, these are the names of the 6 Constructicons that form up to form Devastator, all written in Cybertronian. I guess I did know that there was a Cybertronian language. I guess I wasn't really sure that there had been an alphabet completely logged down. Because I won't lie, I kind of want to get some Cybertronian tattooed on me. I just got to figure out what I want and where I want it. But so Devastator, the Constructicons and the Devastator are some of my favorite Transformers. I remember when I was little, the first time when Megatron looked at the Constructicons and was like, "Form Devastator," and I was like, "What? What is this?" And these Transformers started transforming from robot to car to leg, and became, let's see if I can point to the right way of thing. This is actually a vintage, that's the toys, vintage Devastator, and formed this giant, this titanic combat monster that had its own weird, it had its own personality. like 6 robots. Yeah, so up until then, every time I've seen robots that join together, it was always, it's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, it's Voltron, where it's piloted vehicles that jump together to form a much larger robot, but then each individual part or the whole is piloted by this crew, one from every body part or whatever. This was the first time that I had seen the Constructicons all get together, turn into Devastator, and Devastator having a completely different personality. He's not them. He's not the 6 of them. He is himself. And when they don't have him connected, he's sleeping or off in limbo or whatever. But when they connect together, suddenly Devastator's awake and in control, and then the various body part personalities are kind of on ice while he's in control. And I fell in love with that concept, that gestalt mentality. Because of things that are in the works, I am so unbelievably psyched about Mr. Stator, Mr. Devastator. I am very happy with that as a piece of art. I'm gonna find out. Actually, I think I'm gonna put it in the living room because it's. I've already got the the vintage Dev here. I don't need another window pane version. Whereas it'd be cooler if it's out in my living room or something like that. But yeah, my wife got that for me for Christmas. I'm gonna put Andrew's information in the description of the video below. Same thing with Turbo Dork. So if you guys want to order some stuff from them, please do so. And if you're feeling froggy and they ask, hey, where did you, there's a note box that says, where did you hear from it? I would love for you to tell them that you heard it specifically from me. I think that these avenues need to know where people are hearing about them. It's not just all word of mouth, word of internet. So I went through all the material stuff, but there are other ways for you to be more of a giving and caring and generous person at the game table. Some people will scoff, and I say one of the biggest ways for you to show your generosity at a game table, especially if it's like a miniatures game, something that's head-to-head, is maybe by playing to the same kind of game that your opponent wants to play. Let's say you get a friendly face shows up, I want to play Dungeons and Dragons, and a 50-year-old veteran that that has his own world, his own everything set aside for all of his D&D stuff, he might not be as welcoming to a brand new player, or you might, you never know. But it also might be a little more difficult for them to get into that kind of homebrew 30 years of history, whereas if that 30-year-old veteran is feeling more generous and feeling open and honest to these new players, maybe they run a first level adventure out of a book, or they look at everybody and say, hey, how does Rise of Tiamat sound to you? Do you want to go ahead and try and play through that? Working with these newcomers will then hopefully help them feel like they want more out of gaming. They want to be more involved. Maybe they'll turn around and run their own games. for other noobs and brand new players and things, spreading even more of that. I guess it's one of those things where there has been so much negativity in real life floating around that it is hard to it's hard to deal with some of us gamers being harder to each other, being tough on one another, especially if there's not for any good reason. We have in my local group, we have a couple of people. My local group is pretty large. You know, I would say at any given moment there's probably about 8 or 9 different gamers, all talking on like conversation threads or in parties and things. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of personalities that could conflict. Most of the time, I think that everyone gets along, but every once in a while, you get one or two people that that bump heads. And if we can avoid that, if you can avoid those sort of negative feelings where you're making other people around you uncomfortable, or shooing people away from the table or away from a group because of something that was said, if you can avoid that kind of stuff, it just makes things all around more pleasant. You just collectively in a better place, if you can find a way to overlook these little hiccups, and even if it's just for the people around you, if it's just for the other gamers that don't want to sit there and listen to you guys yell at each other or bicker or listen to someone, as soon as one person leaves the room, oh God, I can't believe, finally he's gone, or, hey, is this guy coming? Oh, great, we have to deal with this. If they don't want to see that, especially because, it's human nature. If we see people smack talking someone who just left the room or who is on the way or something like that, we immediately start to wonder, is that what do people talk about that about me? Is that what happens as soon as I leave the room, or is when I call and say I'm coming over? So it's just better, I think, collectively to just try and be better and kinder people to one another within your gaming group. If you disagree, I'm not saying that everybody needs to drink the Kool-Aid and continue down the primrose path. What I am saying though is instead of yelling at somebody in your gaming group and alienating them for their opinions or whatever, just zip it. Hold on to that thought, and then maybe after the game, or during a chat session online or something like that, bring it up to the group and say, hey, I didn't want to say anything and interrupt the game and interrupt the flow, but this is something that happened, and I don't know if I'm cool with it. Can we address this? And I think for the most part, I think most people would be happy to address little problems, here and there, long before it gets out of hand and feelings are irrevocably hurt. It is sad for me when I see people who I know should get along. They see eye to eye on 95% of other things, but there's just one little some sticking point that they keep bumping over again. Like if you're trying to wax the table, you hit that knot every single time, and every time that knot gets hit, somebody is walking away from this conversation upset, possibly feeling like they were never understood, but definitely definitely walking away at an important moment when you could be trying to teach others to become closer and become better gamers rather than trying to push someone away. I know I'm rambling. This topic, especially because of the situation I'm in right now, the topic of generosity between gamers is very important to me. It's well known fact that my wife and I incurred a ton of medical bills a handful of years ago that we are still paying off using the GoFundMe. I'll put the GoFundMe address below. That stuff never really changes. You know, you get something paid off and then bam, something else happens. Well, right now, in all fairness, aside from Natalie's illness and her medical bills, we have a couple of sick dogs. We have a brand new dog, new service puppy, and a leaky roof and a car that needs a new engine. You know, everything just kind of all packs up at once, and all that dark and all that negativity can weigh you down. It can make things so hard all the time. And for me, gaming is my escape, is my way of climbing out of that dark hole and kind of seeing that, okay, yeah, it sucks back there, but right now I'm doing okay. Right now I'm playing some make-believe. I'm in a game. I'm rolling dice. I'm playing cards. I'm moving minis around. Whatever. It's a way for you to escape just a little bit away from that heavy darkness, but you cannot use it as a way to forget about it. You know, just because you can go party for 7 minutes doesn't mean when you get back that you don't have to deal with the situation, the matter at hand, no matter how serious that may be. And sometimes it is very hard to keep a happy face and pass on positivity and pass on generosity when you feel that a great deal of the system is aimed at you, or that life is very heavy and your shoulders are very tired. So I guess what I'm saying is we all have hardships. We all have dark spots. Right now, I'm crawling myself out of one. And I know that there are others out there that are kind of in the same boat as me when it comes to the process of trying to make things better. It's not just a hand wave. You can't just be like, and things are better. You kind of work toward it. You got to grow toward it. You got to see results as it becomes a thing. And I think that as long as you're trying, as long as you are checking in with your gamers, you are trying your best, or you see something that you know one of your gamer buddies really needs on eBay or in a gift or in a hobby shop or something, you snatch it up for them. Not because you want that you like lord it over them or bribe them or anything like that, just because you know that it's something that helps, and something that will make them feel better, and something that will, in turn, hopefully them feeling better will then mirror back on the rest of your group. I guess that's my big takeaway is, I showed you a bunch of cool stuff that people were generous with me about. I mean, last year alone, I got two giant Forge World kits that are several $100s a piece normally. I got an entire Necromunda gang, so that's $40-$50. These are all things that made me smile, that helped me want to do more for my fellow gamer, just as other gamers had done for me. And I think I think that that needs to be something, especially right now, and especially in kind of this tumultuous time that we're in, where a lot of people are asking a lot of questions. A lot of people their answers are, ugh, everything's screwed. I think now is the time to focus on that not being the case. Yeah, COVID's out there. Doesn't mean that I can't play digitally. Doesn't mean that I can't extend my bubble to like the one person who I know who's just as safe as I am. Doesn't mean that you can't take some time and, if you're an artist, draw some new stuff. If you are a writer, write some stuff. If you are a game designer, jot down some ideas. Try and get that next contract. It's whatever it takes for you to not only, because again, this episode was talking about generosity, about giving to others, but you gotta also worry about giving to yourself. And that's not a selfish thing. I'm not saying, go out and buy yourself some toys. Sometimes that helps. A little retail therapy. But what I am saying is, think about yourself. Think about what would also help you stay in that frame of mind. Help you stay happy to be playing with other people, happy to be discussing things, hopefully in a more of a debate than an argument when it comes to certain stuff. Happy to hear that family is doing well, or happy to hear that friends are getting new jobs or whatever. It always, if you can start with yourself and be generous to yourself enough to give yourself a good day, give yourself what it takes to hopefully keep a smile and give other people smiles. If you can do all that in our industry during a pandemic, during American insurrectionists attacking the Capitol, if you can find a way to do that, others will follow. Because that takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of selflessness to focus on other people being happy. And I think that that's a big thing right now. So what I'm going to say here, closing out, is not only do I want you to go out there and be safe, wear a mask, go to the links that I've got in the description to take a look at some of the various wares that I talked about today. But do something nice for somebody out of the blue, whether it's buying somebody getting it in line in Starbucks and go ahead and paying for the dude behind you, or at the game store when you've got somebody who is like the Magic player who's hem-hawing over one pack or two, go ahead and tell them to get two, and then you'll pay for the second one. Do something that will help keep our people, our community, our sub-communities, our gamer communities, keeping them thinking on the positive, keeping them trying to do what gaming is supposed to do, and that is to make people happy, is to entertain, is to lighten up an otherwise heavy world. That I think it's really necessary for us. As someone who just recently has been handed just a pile of bad news on top of bad news on top of bad news that I wish I could afford to fix like that, I have to stay positive, and one of the ways for me to do that is I take a look at the cool stuff that my fans send to our P.O. Box, the cool stuff that companies happily send for us to use on camera or off camera, and even looking at neat, one-of-a-kind gifts that were like ordered and made specifically for me by someone who cares and knows that how much I love that. These are all things that I think will help keep your spirits up and help keep the spirits up of the people around you. And maybe when this whole depressing quarantine pandemic thing is over, we'll all be in kind of a little better of a headspace because of all the nice things that we've done for ourselves and for each other. So that's that for now. You know how it is. Be safe. Wear a mask. Go out there. Play some games. Enjoy yourself. And be a good gamer. Play some games and be a good gamer. That's what I got this week. We'll see you next week.